Hello, I'm Stephen Ang, and this is the story of a background actor. So these are stories that I have as a background actor, and here we go. Um, as a background actor, I use Central Casting, who did the background acting or background casting for the zombies in Return of the Living Dead. And I also used to use Extra Management. Um, I've done background for a long time. One of the shows I worked on was Botch, and just a lot of shows. I was even a stand-in. It's not background, but I was a stand-in on American Horror Story Cult, where I played a character named. I was the double for Flops, who was the clown that had an elephant face and a donkey on the other side, and I had to stab Cher's son, who was playing a character on that in the show. I had to stab her son, and the funny thing about that was they didn't use digital blades; they used plastic ones. And the director wanted us to like stab him, really stab him. And I thought that was silly because they have enough money, like Walking Dead uses CGI blades. Well, he wanted us to really stab Cher's son, and he was getting hurt. He was getting hurt. We heard him say "ow," and but we had to pretend to really kill him. So I was one of the clowns to kill him. But let's get into the background stories. Um, I was working on a independent film called Paint It Black, and the agency I was working for was Bill Dance Casting. And what happened was we had to be in a mosh pit, and they gave us real alcohol to drink. And sets aren't supposed to do that, but they gave us real alcohol. I am not a big fan of alcohol, so I didn't have any. But everyone else did. A lot of people did. So they were getting drunk and rowdy, and I was pushed into a wall. And just like Final Destination, when my head hit the wall, I saw a 6-inch nail sticking out that could have went through my brain and killed me. And that was just part of it. So I was almost killed on that set for about $75. Later on in the day, I don't know if this event happened that day or a couple days ago before, whatever, but a young African American child was shot by police. And when we were outside, there were hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of African Americans that were pissed walking on the freeways, and walking on the streets, throwing bricks, rocks at white people. And they were upset with white people. And I left the set. I even called Bill Dance to let him know the situation, and he didn't believe me. He thought I was making it up and didn't help me. And in fear of my life, I left the set. I was done with the day, but I left the set and I didn't sign the paperwork I was supposed to. And that's how I was supposed to get paid. I wasn't thinking. But after that, I called Bill Dance, and Bill said I wasn't getting paid. The film company, the film crew, whatever, they weren't going to pay me because they said that I left the set. I was done with my day, and I was afraid for my safety, and these people did not care. So they don't really care about you. And but they also don't really care about you sometimes, even if you're principal photography. And principal photography is like the main actor, whatever, one of the main actors. And I was one of the main actors for Call of Duty Black Ops when they did the game trailer for that. They had us run on a second-story building, and there was a big hole with pebbles everywhere. And I was wearing Converse. They didn't make sure what kind of shoes we were wearing that we could slip. They told us just to run past this hole. They didn't even really mention the hole. They just said run past here, and there was a big hole that if you would have fallen through, you would have either been killed or really hurt. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. They didn't put padding down there in case somebody did fall. There was no protection that we had. And this was a multi-million-dollar commercial. And the director that was directing it was Rupert Sanders, who's done Witch and the Huntsman and Ghost in the Shell, the live action. So I met Rupert, and they had all this money for all this equipment, but they didn't have anything to keep people safe. And that was very disappointing. So it is dangerous. It can be very dangerous, but it's even more dangerous for background actors. And these agencies will lie to you. I don't know if it was Central Casting or Bill Dance. I think it was Bill Dance. But another time I worked on another film. It was with Sally Field, and it was called Hello, My Name is Doris. And it was another independent comedy. But I was really sick that day, and I told them I can't show up, and they lied to me and said the director handpicked you out of 100 people, so you have to show up, and that they were short on background actors. So I went to work anyway, being awfully sick. When I got there were hundreds of other background actors. So they lied to me about how many background actors were there. And then the director didn't even know who I was. And just about how they talked about how like he handpicked me. He put me in front of a pole all day. Even when they weren't filming in that location, they put me by a pole. And yet again, we're giving free beers to people, which we're not allowed to drink, but they were giving us free beers. And I was there like all day. And I eventually, having nothing to do, got drunk off of the beers that they kept handing like it was Halloween, and like you give candy to Halloween. I got drunk and started talking to this pole. And I watched the movie, and you can't even see me in any of the scenes. So when you do background, most likely you're not even going to be seen anyway. And as far as Bill Dance as well, Bill Dance has an ego, and he will treat you like crap if you let him. He'll say, "Do you know who I am? I lost my directions to the set. And so I had to call Bill Dance and be like, hi, I lost the directions. Can you help me out?" And he said, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're Bill." Well, Bill Dance I told him that it was his job to help me out. It was his job. And after I talked to him, his attitude cleared up. And I happened to be one of the first people on set to that location. But Bill Dance will mistreat you and act like he's really... Now, he's been in a background... he's been with the background stuff since like Mortal Kombat in the 90s. So he's been around a long time. But he really doesn't have any power. He has power over the background people that he gets. But he'll mistreat you if you let him. And I told Bill Dance that he can't treat me this way, and that it was his job to help me out. It was his job to help me get to set and give me directions. Because that's all he does all day. That's all they do is talk to background actors and help them out with their problems. And if there's cancellations or whatever, that's their job. So I stopped working for Bill Dance. But those are my stories of being a background actor. It actually seems even harder work for a background actor than it is for an actor that's already made it. That's because they made it. But I did another show, and I forgot what it was called, but it was a doctor show, and Rob Lowe was in it, and we had to show up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was there before the security was, before the actors were, before the crew was. We were out there, the background, at 4 o'clock in the morning. And we had to wait until about 8 o'clock in the morning. We didn't get paid those 4 hours. And we waited all day, 4 hours for the film crew. And we were exhausted the time we started filming. And Rob Lowe comes in all rested and laughing it up and just everybody's having a good time. And we can tell that they've all had plenty of rest, and they probably got up like half an hour ago and came to work. While they had the background. See, why do you need background before security's even there? Why do you need background if the lead actors aren't there? So they mistreat background actors, and we don't even get paid that much. We're getting paid probably what, $75 a day, and we waited there all day, and people were sitting reading their books, whatever, but some people were falling asleep because they were exhausted, and they would wake you up even though you're not filming, even though you're in the holding cell. And it's like you can kind of do what you want when you're in your trailer and your holding cell. If you need to rest, you'll rest. They'll come get you. They do expect you to come when they say to come with us, but they wouldn't even let you sleep. And so it's quite ridiculous. It can be quite ridiculous. And I guess that's all I wanted to share. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for your time. I'm Stephen A. Logging out.